What up, people? Cracked Lemonade here. And just to give you a bit of a warning, you're going to see me play Cowboy Bebop for the PlayStation 1 poorly. And that's because, outside of it being a Japanese game, there is no analog control on this game. So, despite playing with a DualShock controller, I could not control Spike Ship with the analog stick. I'm using a directional pad, and it seems like it was programmed very pressure sensitive. There's also no camera controls. So, just putting that out there, this is not a review of the game. Because I can't give it a fair shot. I genuinely can't. Like, just there's a language barrier, there's a control barrier, there is a bias because this is not a game that I played when PlayStation was active. So at the end of the day, I have no prior experience to this game, and I can't go into nostalgia and like cape for it, you know? So this is adult me playing a game that is very old, and it did what it could for its time, and possibly due to its reception in Japan did not make it into the United States. And part of that could be because Cowboy Bebop didn't really pop off in the US until Adult Swim in 2003, and PlayStation 1 title. This would have been well into the PlayStation 2 library. So, yeah. But that's not why I'm here today. The reason why I chose Cowboy Bebop is because of a tangent I have been ruminating on for a while. And I think it's time to talk about it. It is about the live action Cowboy Bebop adaptation. And more specifically, this is not going to be a run through of the first season because I no longer have Netflix and those episodes aren't fresh in my mind anymore. My thing here is I think we were a little, I'm not going to say we, because to be perfectly honest with you, I did enjoy the season. I thought it was fun. I thought it was new. And there were some changes that I might not have agreed with, specifically as somebody who doesn't own the entire DVD box set of Cowboy Bebop, but owns a DVD with the episodes Jupiter Jazz. So overall, I've watched Jupiter Jazz Part 1 and 2 probably more than other episodes this season. So I didn't have an appreciation of how they changed the character of Gren from the cartoon to the live action show. But that being said, it didn't take away from my overall enjoyment of the show. I remember ending the season when it came out, I think I watched it like within the first week that it dropped on Netflix. I remember watching it and I was like, this is a very interesting take. It needs a season 2 to flesh it out. And I believe within the next couple days, I was talking about the live action Cowboy Bebop with a coworker, and he told me that the show got canceled. And we probably weren't even 3 months removed from it debuting on Netflix. That's really what this is about. This is about, I think, fans of Cowboy Bebop who did not particularly like the live action, maybe a little bit too harsh, and that led to a little bit of a knee-jerk response to cancel Cowboy Bebop before they could really finish telling the story and the audience could give it a better, more accurate assessment of its overall delivery of taking a very loved anime and adapting it into live action. Now, I can understand if people don't agree with me. And I have had many conversations with anime fans about live action adaptations overall, not specifically just Cowboy Bebop. And I do think there is not necessarily a favorable look on all live action adaptations. I don't want to say that it stems from one thing, but I will say that Dragon Ball Evolution was a terrible anime adaptation. But I definitely want to assure people that there are good anime adaptations out there. Not all of them come to the United States. A lot of them stay in Japan. And I've watched more than a couple of live action anime adaptations that I thought were fun. And they don't necessarily have to follow the exact logic, or not exact logic, but the exact storytelling of the show, in my opinion. So I think that when it comes to Cowboy Bebop and the live action show, that the changes they made sense to me, with small exceptions, mainly character placement and things like that. But the episodes, the way they were shot, the musical score, a lot of those things hit the beat for me of the things that I definitely enjoyed in Cowboy Bebop. I think that the cinematography for the live action Cowboy Bebop was good. Scenes were well shot, the effects were well done. The one that like really stands out in my mind is that episode where Spike gets stuck in the virtual city. But like I said, I can understand the character changes, the changes to Julia, Vicious, and Gren, to be specific, that fans maybe didn't like. And I can definitely understand that. Where like Julia in the cartoon was a different type of character. We did not get a lot of actual interactions with Julia until the end of the cartoon. So bringing her in towards the end of the first season and changing the dynamic between Vicious and Julia, I can understand. I can understand why people weren't really ready for that. Or not ready, but like accepting of that. I can also understand that, if you are somebody who liked the music from Jupiter Jazz, the Grin centered episodes, and the story that Jupiter Jazz told of Grin and his connection to Vicious, to not have that represented in anime. I also understand that. I I feel I feel it. Like I get people who really didn't love Cowboy Bebop the live action because of the departures and a little bit of the creative risks that it took. However, I think we should have just gave it a full shot of a show run. I don't think that the second season should have gotten canceled. We should have at least let it rock out with the second season, give it a full solid evaluation after we see a little bit more of the creative vision that they were developing at the time. It Things do change with adaptations, and I like one of the debates that I tend to get wrapped up in sometimes, which is Power Rangers and Super Sentai. And I can see where people want Power Rangers to be more like Super Sentai, but I also gravitate in the opposite direction to say that, we're not getting another season of Power Rangers. That series is ostensibly dead, but I thought for a few years that if they took a different direction from Super Sentai and kind of developed its own identity, I get that Power Rangers fans don't trust America to make good suit designs or good monster designs or anything like that. But I think there can be enough creative changes if you know what direction and what genre you really want to place a show in. And maybe we didn't give American Tokusatsu a shot. Maybe the genre of American Tokusatsu died because in the 90s, Saban basically owned all of the different series and did not make each season transformative enough to stand on its own. Maybe that's the case. That's my opinion of it. Like, if I were to talk about Power Rangers versus Mass Rider versus Mystic Knights of Tyr the Nog versus VR Troopers versus Big Bad Beetleborgs, there are similarities in the structure of the shows that make them too similar to where once you get past the initial character action that each of those specific types of tokusatsu provides, there isn't much else. So in my opinion, yeah, I think that the the genre of American tokusatsu was cooked from the 90s. People might disagree with that. That's cool. We all have different perceptions and different opinions on the media that we consume. And I am saying that maybe we should have given the live action Cowboy Bebop more of a chance because we have shows that were objectively terrible, like Velma, that got 2 seasons. And a show like the live action Cowboy Bebop, which I did enjoy watching because it was an adventure and it it made changes to the music, but the music was similar enough to the music of the original show. Again, there were certain songs that didn't make the cut, like Space Lion from Jupiter Jazz. Like I said, I watch Jupiter Jazz more than any other series of episodes on Cowboy Bebop because I own it on DVD. I have rewatched Cowboy Bebop multiple times, but again, strongest memories of episodes, Jupiter Jazz, because not only I like had it on DVD since like 2003, and I should probably just get the whole box set of Cowboy Bebop, but I don't know. I always put it off. But at the end of the day, that's kind of like my entire point. Like I understand that people have different tastes and different takes. So I can completely understand if you don't agree that maybe Cowboy Bebop should have gotten a second live action season. At least in my mind, there there could have been a 24 episode live action Cowboy Bebop. Maybe they make it a little bit longer, but if it was 24 episodes, we could put it side by side. We could see, like, okay, maybe this was their creative vision. Oh, they wanted to do this with Vicious, so this is why they changed the story so much. But I think that a lot of the knee-jerk reaction probably was, I don't know. I don't know what people who hated the live action Cowboy Bebop thought. I didn't Because I didn't hate it, I'm not gonna look into a lot of negative reviews about it to try to talk about why people hate it because I liked it. And that kind of seems like a pointless effort. Maybe somebody who did not like the live action Cowboy Bebop, and I'm pretty sure it exists on YouTube already. Goes into detail as to why they didn't like it. I like creative adventures. I like creative ventures. And while I was apprehensive at the initial announcement of a live action Cowboy Bebop, because while I am aware that live action anime adaptations exist, I know that good live action anime adaptations usually stay in Japan. So, yeah, there was apprehension there. But they had a good cast. They had a good cast. Maybe the characters weren't, you know, written in a way that hardcore fans of the series were receptive of it. But at the end of the day, when you're telling a story a different way, changes can be good. I just think that maybe we should have given it a different chance. But, that's just kind of my opinion. I don't really have that heated of an argument to say, oh, you should like the live action Cowboy Bebop. Man, I can't tell you what to like, and I also can't tell you what to dislike. I can only make videos talking about my opinion through my perception of media that I consume or things that I experience. So, again, if you don't agree with me, that's fine. You can definitely tell me why you don't agree with me. You can tell me why you didn't like the show. You can tell me if you liked the show. Because I don't know that many people who thoroughly enjoyed the show. I do know like a few people who saw it and they had like minor complaints, but I'm not necessarily sure who in the audience may have also liked the show. But I don't know. I know that I have very specific tastes and I respect everyone's palate as long as you don't try to convince me to like the things that you like, because that makes me automatically resistant to that. But that's all I got to say. I am sorry about this gameplay footage. Like I said, no analog control, no camera control. It is very strange to play this when you are controlling with a directional pad, because it feels extremely sensitive, and it's not good when you have like all these things shooting from you in all these different directions. It also doesn't help that this is kind of an on-rails shooter. Like, I am basically going in a straight line, and it's following the reticle. Where I aim the reticle, the ship goes. So it is hard. The other thing, I'm getting these complaints out right now before I end this video. Inverted controls on flying games drive me crazy. If I press up and I go down, it is the most... I don't know how to wrap my head around that. And especially at this part of the stage where the camera just kind of changes automatically and you are limited to this area and you have to take down these guys. And I was trying with other buttons to see if I had like larger guns or beams. I couldn't figure it out. I know L1 and R1 tilt the ship left and right, so like, it's so you can maneuver a bit. But I also didn't find it useful because I don't know, like, I cannot see where I am going in this area, so it's not fun. It's been Crack Lemonade. This has been Cowboy Bebop. Peace out.